Hello everyone. Today we need to talk about Tim Cook the Crook. So recently, Tim Cook the Crook has declared war on free speech, on Apple, and on all platforms. Here on the Business Insider, you can see Tim Cook appeared to take a swipe at Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter in a speech rallying against white supremacy. But hold on, folks. Is this really about white supremacy, or is this about censorship, attacking free speech, and silencing political groups to which Tim Cook and his political partners, aka the tech industry, do not agree with, namely the right wing? Let's find out. What did he have to say? So Tim Cook appeared at the Anti-Defamation League's Never Now Summit in New York City. Tim Cook has said people sowing hate, division, or violence have no place on Apple platforms. He specifically decried white supremacists. Cook said Apple showed this year that it won't enable violent conspiracy theorists, in an apparent reference to Alex Jones, who Apple permanently banned from its platforms earlier this year. He appeared to take a dig at Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, saying now is not the time to get tied up in knots when dealing with hate speech. So I'm gonna call bullshit right here. Tim Cook the Crook, just another one of those soy boy CEOs who hates America and who hates freedom. You cannot rally for the destruction of free speech, for censorship, and claim to love America and what it stands for, because as the First Amendment protects and says, we have freedom of speech. We are supposed to have the ability to speak our minds, express our opinions, and not be censored, not be deplatformed, not be kept off the internet, and not allowed to speak. So there's no way Tim Cook the Crook actually supports this country or what it stands for. He's making it quite clear. And look at the language. Now is not the time to worry about right and wrong when dealing with hate speech, quote unquote hate speech. And what they really mean is speech that doesn't fit the leftist narrative and agenda. Political correctness, social justice, and other lies and toxic ideologies which have permeated modern society. So what does this article go on to say about Tim Cook the Crook? After being awarded the first Courage Against Hate award by the Anti-Defamation League, Tim Cook gave a speech saying tech needs to make a moral stand against white supremacy. In doing so, the Apple CEO appears to take the latest in a long line of swipes against some of his rivals, including Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Apple took a strong stance against conspiracy theorist Alex Jones in August, removing his podcast from iTunes and its podcast app. This set off a chain reaction of big tech companies booting the InfoWars host off their platforms. Oh yeah, Alex Jones. They love to talk about him. They basically banned him for no reason, and I'm going to say this, yes, Alex Jones did nothing wrong. They banned him for having dissenting political opinions and for not supporting the social justice and politically correct narrative and leftist ideologies. And here's the thing. How can they call it a conspiracy, okay? Because plenty of people said that, oh, it's just a conspiracy theory. There's no censorship. There's absolutely no censorship against the right wing. The left isn't censoring anybody. And yet, all of these big liberal tech companies have booted people off their platforms, deplatformed them, censored them, robbed them of their right to free speech, and basically proved the conspiracy right. Quote, at Apple, we believe technology needs to have a clear point of view on this challenge, Cook said on Monday night. There is no time to get tied up in knots. That's why we only have one message for those who seek to push hate, division, or violence. You have no place on our platforms. You have no home. Absolutely infuriating. He's basically bragging and laughing at all of the censorship, all of the deplatforming, all of the crimes against the American people Tim Cook the Crook has been committing, as well as these other tech companies. And you want to know, you want proof that this is hypocritical and absolutely categorically 100% not true? Because there's plenty of examples of people on the left being violent, sowing division, and pushing hate. And yet they never seem to get banned. They never seem to face any sort of repercussions. Right-wingers and conservatives alike, libertarians, anyone who's slightly right of center is booted off a platform for having opinions that do not follow the narrative. The left, in anti-white hatred, in hatred against conservatives, in hatred against America, pushing division, pushing for violence, do not get banned. Who could forget Antifa and all of the crimes they have committed while they've been allowed to operate freely on leftist tech companies' platforms, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all of it included, without any repercussions, even though people have reported them for their violence, hate, and division. Unbelievable. He added, "If we can't be clear on moral questions like these, then we've got big problems. At Apple, we're not afraid to say that our values drive our curation decisions, doing what's right. Just doing God's work. Creating experiences free from the violence and hate. Experiences that empower creativity and new ideas. It's what our customers want us to do." Such a lie. Such a flat-faced lie. The tied up in knots comment could be read as a message for the platforms that swiftly followed Apple in banning Jones, all at the same time, almost as if there was a conspiracy to deplatform him by the left. Facebook removed the conspiracy theorist, but this was after suspending him for 30 days in July. YouTube took similar action, again after a previous suspension. Twitter permanently suspended Jones in September, but again this was after an earlier temporary suspension. Although Apple did also dither over Jones, it permanently removed the InfoWars app from the App Store for, and I quote, "objectionable content." So basically, they just made something up. It's all bullshit. In September, despite having stated it had no plans to do so in August. So of course they lied, just like they do. All they do is lie. Tim Cook the Crook continued, "The most sacred thing that each of us is given is our judgment, our morality, our innate desire to separate right from wrong. Choosing to set that responsibility aside at a moment of trial is sin." You hear that, folks? You're a sinner.
Even now, the evil seed of what you have done germinates within you.
You are a beacon of sin. If you dare have an opinion, if you dare want to have free speech, if you dare speak out against the leftist coalition against America. He called it a sin, which is kind of apt because at this point, regressive left ideology is basically a religion. He went on to say that Apple has always prohibited music with a history of white supremacy. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. And as we showed this year, we won't give a platform to violent conspiracy theorists. It's really interesting because as far as I know, there's plenty of hip-hop songs on the Apple iTunes store that have lots of violent lyrics proposing violence against cops, people, women, trans women, all sorts of things. And yet they don't care. Look, the point here is that the whole white supremacy thing is just a red herring. It's bullcrap. It's just an excuse. They call everything racist. They call everything violent. They call everything hateful if it doesn't follow their agenda. If it's not on their side of the political spectrum, it's bad. It's racism. Even when it's not. Sometimes, maybe they have a point. It's still a violation of free speech. People should be able to voice their opinions. Without this right, America will be no more. Cook has repeatedly called out rivals this year without actually naming them. In particular, he has taken a swipe at the privacy standards of firms like Facebook following the catastrophic Cambridge Analytica data scandal. And that's the article. Of course, they don't have a comment section because if they did, people would tell them their honest opinions. And we can't have that. We can't have that because it would be too destructive to them and their companies. Because the truth is power. And right now, the left is trying to rob the right of that power. These liberal tech companies are trying to take away our freedom of speech. And they use it under the guise of fighting hate, of fighting white supremacy. But the reality is this. These people have an agenda, and their agenda is to destroy anyone who is on the right side of the political spectrum. Anyone who goes against the grain, who goes against their agenda, gets censored. I myself am no stranger to censorship of the left, and I will not stand for it. So Tim Cook the Crook is full of it. I think that's the main point here. He's full of it. All these tech companies, all these liberal elites are liars and thieves. And, you know, just like the riots in France are now proving, you can only push the people of your country so far until they decide that enough is enough. That's all for today, folks. Help support free speech by subscribing, liking, and sharing this video. We live in difficult times, where it's hard to get a message out when everyone is trying to censor you and what you have to say. I suppose we can only hope that these people learn to respect our First Amendment rights, and in general our rights as Americans, and protect freedom of speech. Time will tell. This has been Mr. Obvious, bringing you the obvious. Thanks for watching. See you all next time.